What's up, family? I appreciate you for rocking with me. As always, we're here to have a conversation. Get this video a big thumbs up. If you get some value from this video, with no further ado, I would like to preface the conversation by watching this video first. Check it out.
I called for him to come out, take a look for himself. We want to do it in the spirit of an open hand, not a closed fist. He's the president-elect. I respect the office. We have a president of the United States that within 36 hours provided a major disaster declaration over a text. We had support from the president of the United States, Joe Biden, with 100% reimbursement, all the resources you could hope for or imagine, constant communication. I'd like to extend that to the president-elect. I don't know what he's referring to when he talks about the Delta smelt in reservoirs. The reservoirs are completely full, the state reservoirs here in Southern California. That mis and disinformation, I don't think advantages or aids any of us. Responding to Donald Trump's insults, we would spend another month. I'm very familiar with them. Every elected official that he disagrees with, very familiar with them.
We do know, though, from reporting here locally that that one reservoir that serves the Palisades was not full.
And that's exactly what triggered my desire to get the investigation, to understand what was happening with that local reservoir. That was not a state system reservoir, which the president-elect was referring to as it relates to the Delta and somehow connecting the Delta smelt to this fire, which is inexcusable because it's inaccurate, also incomprehensible to anyone that understands water policy in the state.
Well, there you have it, folks. So the wildfires raging across Los Angeles have sparked a political firestorm. Critics accuse Democratic leaders of mismanagement, while the mainstream media pushes back, branding these criticisms as misinformation. As you guys see on the screen, a BBC article, for instance, fact-checked these claims, attempting to shield Democrats from blame. But critics argue that during the crisis, accountability shouldn't be dismissed as partisan attacks. Resources remain scarce in places like Aldina, Pasadena, Malibu, and the San Fernando Valley, leaving residents desperate for support. Critics contend that better preparedness could have mitigated this tragedy, pointing to the state's failure to address wildfire risk proactively. They cite deals with PG&E and insurance companies as distractions from essential preparedness efforts. However, I want you guys to check out the accountability and leadership that the Democrats have, as you guys can check out the meter in regards of their tone in this whole tragedy within itself and how they're looking at it. Check this out.
Instead of this business about Democrats or Republicans, get the information up on the screens. Where can you go in Altadena? Where can you go in Pasadena? Where can you go in Malibu? Where can you go in the Palisades? Where can you go in San Fernando Valley? They don't know. They're looking for help, and that's what we should be dedicated to.
I agree.
And you too.
We are doing it. We will continue to do it. I think you are right. However, it can also be seen that you don't want to talk about the politics because it's on your party, because the mayor and the governor are Democrats who arguably should have had the people in Altadena better prepared for this. They should have the resources more available so they don't need me to put them up because the state has been doing the work. And that if they've been preparing the situations for wildfires like they were made aware of, instead of cutting deals with PG&E and insurance companies, they would have prepared the state. That is not unfair criticism. Is it too soon? Maybe, but the questions are real.
Let me tell you something. I'm not in the business of protecting anybody. And I think that my work over the years that I've been involved have been absolutely on point in dealing what has to be dealt with in order to help the people. First thing you got to understand is services cost money. And we should be willing to get the richest people in this country, the richest 1% that is protected, make sure they pay their fair tax.
Here we go. Doesn't this sound familiar? Every time. Tax the rich, tax the rich, tax the rich. The rich, the what? Man, at the end of the day, you keep running in this whole victim Olympics. Oh, the rich need to take care of things. But at the end of the day, you are a public official who needs to be held accountable. And if you are worrying about the people and focus on the people, you shouldn't be blaming a certain demographic of people. Or the 1% in this case, which is the wealthy, right? Am I tripping here, family? Comment down below.
Taxes so that we can have the money to provide the services. With that money and with those resources, the people who have been selected or elected to do the job should do the job. I don't care who it is. It could be Democrat, it could be Republican, it could be whatever. But the fact of the matter is, we all should have heavy hearts right now.
While she still spews the nonsensical rhetoric that the Democrats spew, but she don't care if it's a Democrat or a Republican in the position to serve the American people, in this case, Californians. Meanwhile, you have Hollywood figures like Yvette, Nicole Brown, and Kim Wildley, however you say her name, Whitley, have come to Mayor Karen Bass' defense, accusing critics of racism and sexism, folks. Yes, you heard me. They argue that Bass, the first black woman to hold the position, is unfairly blamed for issues beyond her control. Check this out.
Let me tell you something. She's got a spine of steel.
Yes.
And she's also been a black woman in America a very long time. So none of this is new to her. We're mad because we're tired of it.
We're mad
tired
for her.
But we're mad for her. And we're going to stand. Listen, I don't know how you here, but I'm happy you're here. Because somebody needs to say.
To stand, behind her and support her. Because how she handling it, you can see it in her face. She stays calm. But think about this. She has the city to take care of. She does not have time to hear from these reporters asking this question.
She is also not mayor of every municipality in California.
Yes.
There are people that are mad that she didn't fix the fires in Malibu. She's not the mayor of Malibu.
You're right.
What is she supposed to do in a city she's not the mayor of?
People don't understand.
And let me say this too. I could imagine how much it would hurt to see this happening in the city that she loves. That's first. So take away how it feels for people to attack her. She's heartbroken because this is happening in her city, a city that she loves.
And the people don't understand. They don't understand how large it is, because a lot of people are sitting in other parts of the city. They're not in it. They're not in the fire. They're not in the smoke. They don't see. They're not there. They're watching TV. Why? And they want to blame someone. This is not the time to blame. It's time to get some resources. She has reached out far. We have planes coming in from other countries to help us. This is not the time. I need everybody to remain calm,
they need to leave her alone and let her do her
vigilant,
work. Just let her do
support
her work.
the leadership,
Let her
support
do
Karen
her
Bass.
work.
That's all I can say. You cannot. This is not the time.
It's time.
Oh, y'all done got me upset.
She's had a great response so far to the fires.
Absolutely.
A great. She has done what she's had to do. She's jumped in there, and she's got.
Let me say this: we have fires every year, and I don't remember in the 30 years almost that I've lived in LA, I've never seen everybody react like this to
And
the mayor
blame-
and blame one person for a natural disaster.
Yes.
I've never seen it. Now, what's different this time? Interesting, isn't it?
I find it very interesting that they say it is not time to blame, but it's time to focus on the matter. But these are the same divisive individuals who are spewing this type of racism or race card victim Olympics rhetoric. But they're saying that there's no one to blame, but they want to blame people for basically coming at her because she's black, but just holding her accountable for her leadership. I don't think these individuals realize what they say, because if anything, you're blaming people by pulling out the race card, by saying that because she's black, people are coming at her for holding her accountable, but you're saying there's no blame game. Make it make sense. However, this is leadership. Gavin Newsom is getting the same smoke that, Karen Bass is getting. Okay? At the end of the day, problems go up. They don't go down. And when you get the big bucks, this is part of leadership, and you don't have the same luxury as other individuals. This woman flew to Ghana, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm always open to the possibility of being wrong. But this woman flew all the way to Ghana knowing about the matter and knowing about the wildfire disaster before she went. On top of it, from my understanding, she is the mayor of the Los Angeles. So however, you are to stay and do your job, what you get paid for as a public official, the big bucks, and with all the visibility and everything that comes with it, because that's part of leadership and being held accountable. At the end of the day, Gavin Newsom, let's take it, for example, is white. He's getting held accountable, but people ain't coming at him because he's white. This is part of leadership. It has nothing to do with race. It has to do with the simple fact that is the preparedness and the proactiveness for this disaster basically has not taken place. And it could have taken place if they didn't do the nonsense that they did in regards of not preparing California, in this case, for the disaster. The budget cuts, the firefighter budget cuts. So Critics, however, point out that Los Angeles had warning signs, and I want you guys to see in regards of
something. She's got a spine.
sorry, family. I want you guys to see in regards of this billionaire, right? Rick Corso, a former water commissioner, highlighted fire department understaffing and water resource mismanagement years ago. Corso, who lost the mayor race to Karen Bass, is seen by some as a missed opportunity for competent leadership, right? And however, this individual, Rick Corso, basically had private fire crews to protect his outdoor mall, right? And this individual seemed very competent to me and very prepared. And this is what it takes in regards of leadership. And this is a great prime example of leadership that I think Karen Bass should definitely take heed of and take advice of and be more proactive, right? So look at this man and what he did. This is the outdoor mall, and he saved it with the private fire crew as he's receiving all this backlash for being proactive in regards of taking care of his assets and protecting his assets from the wildfires that he knew about.
Oh, this is his own water trucks.
Yep.
Wow, everything on, oh my gosh.
I've been going around the city talking to firefighters and talking to paramedics. I've been talking to residents, and there's a deep concern throughout this city that the paramedics and the firefighters are understaffed because their budget has not been restored from 15 years ago when it was cut back. We have fire stations throughout this city that aren't mobilized because they don't have the staffing to do it, and it's just wrong. My plan as mayor is simple. We are going to restore the budget to bring the staffing levels back, to give the residents of Los Angeles the service they pay for and deserve. And that's the only way a city can be a great city. We have to reprioritize our budget in this city to make sure that our residents are safe and they're protected. And we can't do that unless we have a fire department that is fully funded and fully staffed.
Well, there you have it, folks. And a lot of people are saying, critics are saying basically individuals wanted to follow the whole popular chase of the first black mayor and, you know, following the sentiment of abortion that was never taken away in the first place, in my opinion, in regards of, you know, the whole Donald Trump is going to take away abortion rights. He would have did that the 4 years that he was president back in 2016. However, California officials, including Governor Gavin Newsom, attribute the increasing severity of wildfires to climate change. Prolonged droughts, extreme heat, and Santa Ana winds have created tinderbox environment. Yet critics argue that climate change isn't the sole culprit. Mismanagement, underfunding, and poor resource allocation have exacerbated the crisis. An investigation into water supply failures during the fires is underway. Questions linger about why some fire hydrants ran dry in a major reservoir servicing the Pacific Palisades, family, was offline. And these logistical failures have raised concerns about whether California is prepared for the growing risk posed by climate change, because the Democrats are not saying that it's their fault in regards to their management and everything. They blame climate change, right? And this is the article with Mayor Bass. You know, it's just people coming at her in regards of the budget cuts that I mentioned about, when she basically cut the budget for the LA Fire Department budget by 17.6 million. Sorry, family. But I want you guys to see that they don't take accountability. They rather blame, in this case, they rather blame the climate change.
Administrator Deanne Criswell, Administrator.
Actually, I got a better. I like to cite my sources and go to different sources, so check it out.
Is going to look like.
California Governor Newsom's calling for an investigation into why some fire hydrants ran dry and also why a major reservoir that services the Pacific Palisades area was offline when the fires began. Based on what you saw when you were in the Los Angeles area, how much of a factor did these water supply issues play in hampering efforts to contain the fires?
You know, I'll defer to the experts in California about what they were using and what impact that had. I do know that there were so many fire starts at the same time and that it really did put a strain on the water system in the early hours and early days of this firefighting effort. But they know exactly what they had work with, and the investigation, I'm sure, will show additional information. I think the biggest thing is to still focus on the fact that we still have fires to put out and that they're bringing in the resources necessary to help them do that.
A lot of Californians had their insurance canceled by private insurance companies, fire insurance. The industry in California was already in crisis before the fires. How worried are you that insurance providers are going to choose to flee California, as we've seen in other disaster-prone states such as Florida, and that California taxpayers and actually American taxpayers are going to end up footing the bill here?
I'm always concerned about the fact that many of the insurance carriers are pulling out of the markets. You know, these types of catastrophic risks, these fire risks, they are increasing. You know, we're seeing the change coming from climate change, and we're seeing more significant severe weather events. That's what we're seeing here in California. Without insurance, people are not going to have the tools and the resources to help rebuild their lives. FEMA's programs can help jumpstart that recovery, but they're not there to rebuild their home. And so without insurance, we're going to have to bring in philanthropy. We're going to have to bring in our nonprofits. The Small Business Administration is going to have a critical role in helping these communities recover. But it's going to take all of us, if they don't have the insurance, to be able to help them rebuild.
You just touched on something we're hearing from a lot of survivors of these fires, which is this idea that this is just the new world we're living in due to the climate crisis, extreme heats, prolonged droughts, hurricane-force Santa Ana winds. All of that created the tinderbox fueling this catastrophe. Does the scale of devastation in Los Angeles indicate that we as a country are just simply not prepared for the realities of the climate crisis?
Well, I think what we have to do is look at what these new weather events are bringing, the severity that they're bringing, and think about what the future risk is going to continue to be. And as we have these tragedies, we also need to make sure that we're taking this as an opportunity to rebuild these communities in a way that's going to make.
All right, family, I'll leave it there. However, Elon Musk and Donald Trump have weighed in. Musk criticized LA's fire department for prioritizing diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives over operational efficiency. Despite for a backlash, Musk has contributed tangible aid, sending Cybertrucks and Starlink terminals to areas affected by the fires, because then those Cybertrucks can provide Wi-Fi and also snacks and all those luxuries things that come along with the innovative Cybertruck in itself. And Trump, on the other hand, has used the disaster to amplify claims of Democratic incompetence. His comments, while controversial, have resonated with those who feel California's leadership has failed its residents. So I want you guys to check out what Jen Psaki had to say on MSNBC. Check this out, folks.
And with these fires still burning, we are facing important questions about how to mitigate and prevent disasters like this in the future. The fact is, leaders will need to confront a very complicated and challenging reality moving forward. But right now, that is not exactly what is happening. Instead, Donald Trump and his allies are injecting half-truths, misinformation, and flat-out lies in some cases in order to score a version of political points, I suppose. We saw something similar play out just this past October in the aftermath of Hurricanes Helene and Milton, when Trump repeatedly lied about FEMA spending disaster relief funds on migrants, which didn't happen. Also baselessly claiming that the Biden administration was absent and incompetent in delivering aid, despite what elected officials of both parties on the ground said. Those lies were then spread and amplified by the richest man in the world on the social media site that he owns. So I guess none of us should have been shocked this week when Elon Musk posted that the Los Angeles Fire Department prioritized DEI over saving lives and homes. That's an exact quote. That appeared to be a disgusting dig at the city's fire chief, Kristen Crowley, who has served in the department for decades, rising through the ranks to become the first female and LGBTQ fire chief in LA's history. Musk also amplified a post this week from conspiracy theorist Alex Jones. Yes, that guy. He's still around. Alex Jones wrote that Los Angeles fires are part of a larger globalist plot to wage economic warfare and deindustrialize the United States before triggering total collapse. I mean, not sure that guy's okay. Musk responded to that post by writing, "True." Yes, just to repeat here, that's just the richest man in the world and the best friend of the incoming president confirming to his 200 million followers that he thinks the devastating wildfires are a part of a globalist plot. And so now we're back in this vicious cycle where Trump and his new bestie push lies about a natural disaster, and then right-wing media runs with them.
I'll say it out loud. They have no intention of putting out these fires.
All these people are focused on pronouns and fish you can't eat and, scrubbing white people from the fire department.
DEI, as Elon Musk said, can actually mean DIE.
In the events like this, you sort of look, well, is it on purpose? I can make all kinds of horrible theories up in my head, conspiracy theories and everything else, but it just seemed a little convenient that there was no water and and that the wind conditions were right and that there are people ready and willing and able to start fires. And are they commissioned to do so, or are they just acting on their own volition? I don't know.
That's a conspiracy theorist playing it all out on TV and nobody questioning him.
All right, family. So you guys have it. However, critics argue that mainstream media's defense of Democratic leaders reflect a broader bias, shielding them from accountability. As you heard, Jim Psaki basically fall into that whole rabbit hole of basically shielding Democrat leaders from accountability and coming at Donald Trump and Elon Musk in his commentary, let alone with Mel Gibson and so forth. And I feel like Mel Gibson was the only one that spoke out and spoke realistically about the whole matter. However, I wanted to show you guys proof of Elon Musk acting on his behalf. As he said, apologies to those expecting Cybertruck deliveries in California. Over the next few days, we need to use those trucks as mobile base stations to provide power to Starlink internet terminals in areas of LA without connectivity. A new truck will be delivered in a week. Phenomenal, man. Look, rich millionaire being innovative and doing the things to reach and be there for the people. And if you guys want to know how Cybertrucks are adapted for emergencies, well, let's check it out. Let's see why. You guys want to know why? And it says Cybertrucks are used as mobile base stations to provide power. They support emergency operations by offering free Wi-Fi in a grid pattern in effective areas. They're equipped with security personnel and provide snacks and beverages for passengers during emergency situations. So, family, I'll close by saying the LA wildfires are more than a natural disaster. They are litmus tests for leadership, resource management, and the ability to confront the realities of climate change. As the flames subside, the debate over who bears responsibility will undoubtedly shape California's future policy decisions, family. Let me know you guys' thoughts down in the comments below. On that note, family, peace.